there was a scheduling error and now they don't know if my flight is tomorrow or Wednesday. Now I'm supposed to fly out tomorrow and I'm not sure if I'm even gonna have a flight because they were saying they thought I flew today. Well, it's official. I just submitted my last final of this semester. So you know what that means. It's time to go and catch a plane. All packed up. Bye, apartment.
Avoid standing in the aisle. Available seats may be found in other parts of the train.
Well, there's been some problems with my airplane ticket and checking in.
They agreed to let me fly to Paris, but only if I promised to contact the airline as soon as I arrived to fix everything.
Arrival kindly asks everyone in the terminal to show consideration, keep your distance, and wear a face mask.
Le temps de vol aujourd'hui sera de 2h15 et à l'arrivée, le temps prévu sera couvert, la température autour de 7 degrés. Je vous souhaite un excellent voyage.
Vérification de la porte opposée.
Well, I'm in Paris, but there was a scheduling error and now they don't know if my flight is tomorrow or Wednesday. So I'm gonna have to call them and figure that out. Walking to my hotel for the next 2 nights. Who would have thought Paris was so deserted at night?
Little did I know I was really in some random town an hour outside of Paris. Thanks a lot, Google Maps.
Found the street.
Unlucky for me, 2 different places had the exact same street name.
Well, that was completely the wrong place, and I'm about an hour away from the actual place. So turning around now.
About an hour later, I made it to the actual hostel, a little after midnight.
And here is the hostel that I'm staying in Paris. So we got the lockers. That one there is mine. And this is my bed, as you can see. These are the other 2 beds. We've got our own bathroom. And of course, a nice window with the Parisian view of the road. So this is home for the next 1.5 days, I think. 38 hours. I should probably explain to you guys all what happened at the airport. I was way too exhausted both physically and emotionally last night to tell you anything, because after going to the Oslo airport, what happened was the gatekeeper there, he told me that I was unable to check in for my second flight because in their system it looked like I was flying on Tuesday, but everything the airline had told me was that I was flying on Wednesday, which is tomorrow. So here they are telling me that I'm actually supposed to fly out of Paris immediately the next day, whereas I've made arrangements to stay in Paris for 38 hours, not just 12 or something. So what was even more confusing was when they took a second look at their system, even though it said I was supposed to fly on Tuesday, there were no flights scheduled for Tuesday. So in their system, I was on an imaginary non-existent flight. But for some reason, everything they told me in my emails and confirmations was that I was flying Wednesday, and there actually is a flight Wednesday, but for some reason I wasn't showing as part of that flight on their computers. So they were able to get me into Paris, but now I'm supposed to fly out tomorrow, and I'm not sure if I'm even gonna have a flight because they were saying they thought I flew today. It's just a big mess, but anyways, I did a bunch of touristy things today. I got another COVID test. It's already back negative, and I should be able to fly tomorrow morning all the way to the United States, but I'm not really sure. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to call the Delta Airlines and hopefully they'll be able to sort this out. Well, I'm all freshly showered and I am on hold with Delta Airlines for presumably the next hour and a half, which is crazy, but that's life in the time of COVID. And speaking of COVID, I did want to tell you guys how I got my negative COVID test here in France. So apparently all of the pharmacies in the entire city of Paris are all equipped to do rapid COVID testing. And what's even better is that they're all open 24/7. So I just went to one that was near my hostel and then they emailed me the results in less than 20 minutes. It was super fast and super easy. Now back to waiting on Delta Airlines. The call failed. So I don't really know what to do anymore. The call failed. I've been sitting here for 2 hours just waiting for that and I got no answers. So I'm just going to go to the airport really early tomorrow and hope for the best. See you then. Well, it's 6 in the morning and I am getting on my last flight from Paris, hopefully to Seattle today. Wish me luck.
It took me an hour train ride to get from Paris to the airport, making my arrival time a little after 7 a.m. I did get lost for about an hour though before finding Delta, but I was able to check in with zero problems. The next 2 hours were the most stressful in my entire life. There were thousands of people in the airport and the lines were barely moving. Even though I showed up 4 hours early, I barely caught my flight. I showed up to my gate 30 minutes late and only managed to catch my flight because it was delayed.
The federal mask mandate requires each person to wear a mask over both your nose and mouth at all times throughout the flight, even while sleeping. This is required even if you have received the COVID-19 vaccine or a negative COVID-19 test. Refusing to wear a mask is a violation of federal law and may result in removal from the aircraft and/or penalties under federal law.
Hours later and I had made it to Seattle. The shuttle ride to the island was a little over 2 hours and included scenic views of the city.
Hopefully this will mean that we're going to board us first, so I'm going to give you the instructions for the ferry before we get on there. And you'll be able to roam around the ferry as you wish. Once we get underway, you feel the ferry take off. That means we've got 15 minutes to the other side, so that's our signal that the ferry is moving. So once we get to the other side, we'll feel the ferry slow down and you will hear an announcement to come back to your vehicles.
The ferry ride to get to the island was my favorite part of the trip because of how beautiful it is. just like that, my 60-hour travel day came to an end, and I made it to the USA in one piece. Thanks so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed that video, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next week.